Are you curious about recording your own music, or if you even should be recording your music? We're talking about that today on the podcast. We'll see you on the inside. What's going on, guys? How's it going? This is Mike from the Songwriters Planner, and you're here at the Songwriters Podcast. Thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I really enjoy doing these every week and talking with you folks and getting your feedback. If you're watching the podcast on YouTube, you'll notice I'm in a different environment today. I usually have my red walls with the tapestries and stuff. Well, I'm doing some home renovations, so I moved it into a purple room, as you can see, and if you can't see, I'm in a purple room and I'm wearing my Purple Rain shirt. So today is very purplish. So like I said, thank you for joining me. If you get a chance, please check out this podcast on Spotify and iTunes. I have them there, as well as on YouTube, like I mentioned, or you can go to my website at songwritersplanner.com and check out this check out this podcast there. Talking too fast today. As well as check out the Songwriters Planner, which is a 6-month planner to help keep you productive, inspired, and creative as a musician. Okay, boom. There's the house cleaning information. Now we're going to jump right into this podcast today. Today's theme is, should you be recording your own music, right? Now, if you're a musician, it's really affordable to buy music recording equipment today. Let's jump back really quick right now to 20 years ago. And if you could afford to buy recording music, that means you could afford to buy a huge console, probably a tape machine, a huge facilities to record in, and all the bells and whistles that go with it. No easy feat and not very cheap. Today, however, with technology, it is very easy to get a hold of a 2-channel interface, a microphone, and a laptop and record some demos, some ideas, and get these things down. Super easy. Now, if you've ever wondered, should you be recording your own music and releasing it out on iTunes and Spotify as official releases, that's a question that I think that we are asking ourselves this day and age, because the technology, we have it, the capabilities, we have it. But do we have the skills and the confidence to know that, okay, I can record this song and I know it's going to sound great, or I'm going to like it and my fans are going to love it? Should you be doing that? That is a question that I think we challenge ourselves with, and many people, depending on who you ask, you're going to get, if you ask 100 people, you could get 100 different answers. And you could get some saying, yes, you should, and a lot of people saying, no, you shouldn't. So it really is something that I think that we think about a lot. And I came up with this topic because with my musical project, we've decided to do our own album recording. We're going to do it ourselves. And, with the realization that it's probably not going to be Grammy award-winning sound quality, okay? And we know that going into it. But that made me think, should we all try and do at least a recording of ourselves so that we're not going into an expensive studio and paying someone, some sizable amount of money to get this done for us? It's a valid interest question. So, like I said, back in the day, 20 years ago, there was really only one way to do it, and that was to go to a recording studio, go work with an engineer, and get your music recorded there. Now, of course, this is still in place. These systems of recording studios and people who know what they're doing are still there. And I would say if you have a big budget, or even if you have a budget in general, it's always a good idea to experience this studio recording experience. You learn the process, you go in there and you learn how it really works. Okay. But let's say you've done that, a couple times now, and you want to give recording on your own a shot. There's no one saying that you can't do that. You can do that. If you can find a room, if you have live drums, if you can find a room to track live drums in, because I don't think your garage is really going to do it. It gets pretty loud, but there are ways that you can do it. So what I wanted to do is let's talk about some of the benefits of recording yourself, okay? There's a lot of benefits to it. One benefit is you literally learn the recording process, setting up the microphones, getting the sounds, getting the equipment. You learn the bare bones essentials of what you need to record music in general. That is a benefit because what you're doing is you're gaining a skill. You're gaining a skill that musicians should know how to record yourself. I mean, we all know how to play, and that's what started us. We loved playing. But learning how to record yourself, now that is a skill that you can also take and use to help further your career or help further yourself. You're gaining this knowledge, okay? And of course, with resources like YouTube and all these online resources, there are ways to learn how to do the basics and to get you up and running and get you started to where you're making sounds and you're doing playback and all this stuff, okay? It also helps you be more aware of your songs in general. When you're recording them yourself and then you're playing them back, you're listening to your playing, and you become more aware of what is actually going on in the song, because you're playing each part and you're hearing each part on your own. It's your responsibility to get these performances right. It's your responsibility to get the sounds right. It's your responsibility to get the vibe of the song right. It's on you. So what that does is it teaches you even more about your own music that you probably did not even know. Because you're wearing multiple hats now. You're wearing the performer's hat, you're wearing the engineer's hat, you're wearing the producer's hat, you're wearing all these different hats. Valuable knowledge that you can gain by going through the process of recording yourself. And if the more instruments you record, the better as well. If you have a band where you have 2 guitars, a bass, drums, keyboard, saxophone player, I mean, these are different instruments that produce different sounds, different frequencies. You learn more about your songs and what these instruments can do when recorded, okay? So that's another benefit. Another benefit, and the one is my favorite, is that you now become autonomous. You become to where you don't have to rely on people to record your music for you. Now, is it going to be top-notch quality that you're going to get from a great recording studio? Probably not, to be honest. Because you're dealing with the people at recording studios who have been doing it for years, and they have that advantage over you. They've been doing it for years and they know what they're doing. Okay, you're not going to get around that unless you start doing it for years, which most likely you won't be, and that's okay. But what you do have to your advantage now in this day and age is a lot of resources online and a lot of people showing you how to do things. And if you go ahead and do these things and you learn how to do them, you become autonomous and you become to the point where you can do these things yourself. And what that leads to is you gaining confidence that you know you can do it. And that's probably even more important than this, is that you gain the confidence to know that, yes, I can record myself and it can make it sound good to where I like it and it sounds good enough to release. Now, like I said, everybody's going to have an opinion about this. You may feel one way. Someone else may feel a different way, but you can't deny the idea that recording your own music is good for you as a musician to well-round yourself, to make you more aware of the recording process and give you skills to do it yourself so that you can do things like demos. You can do things like create new songs and put ideas down. Okay, so we looked at some of the benefits. Let's look at some of the drawbacks that can occur when you do record yourself, or some of the cons, whatever you want to call them. First, the cost of equipment. Now, as I mentioned earlier, equipment is a lot more affordable today to get you started. But if you're still going to invest and you want to record, say, a full band, you're going to have to invest in some gear, and it's going to have to go into the hundreds. You could easily go into the thousands, depending on what you invest in. So it is a small investment to get you started, to get you up and running. Now, that could be a drawback for some people. Because it's, on top of musical equipment itself, we now have to buy recording equipment. So, that's just something to think about and something that you might want to be aware of when you're budgeting or you're thinking about, should I be recording? Now, you can get started really quick with a 2-channel interface if you just want a microphone and a guitar, something like that. That is very affordable. But if you're talking about going into and doing like full band recordings or things like that, you're going to have to invest in a bigger interface, maybe some mic preamps. And just, the price goes up basically. So that is a drawback to recording yourself, is the cost of the equipment. Another con or drawback of recording yourself, and this is probably my favorite, is that you are going to suck. Okay. Let's just face it right now. You're going to suck, and that is okay. Okay. And maybe that's a little too harsh to say you're going to suck. What I really mean is that you're not going to be that great at it at first. It's going to be one of those things where you're going to start recording, and then a year from now, you're going to listen back to it, go, oh my God, I can't even believe I did that. But the important thing is that knowing that you're going to start somewhere, and you start somewhere and you get better over time. You learn how to use your equipment. You learn how to dial in EQs. You learn how to dial in using compression. These things come with time. They don't happen overnight. You're not going to make a great sounding record overnight. It's not going to happen. But if you start recording yourself now, think about where you're going to be in a year, and it's only going to help your music. It's only going to help your music out. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend recording all your songs the first time and then releasing an album. I wouldn't recommend it. I don't say you can't do it, but the chances of you listening back to it later and liking it are going to be very small because musicians, we're very picky about the way our music sounds. But what's important is that you dive into it and you start recording it. And you learn the skills along the way and you get better with time. So drawback, again, you're going to suck at the beginning. Just accept that, but that's okay. That is okay. Everybody starts from somewhere, right? You got to start somewhere. So that is another drawback. Another drawback of recording yourself is you just might not be cut out for it. There is a situation you just don't enjoy doing it, or you just don't enjoy getting boggled down with the minutia of plugging in cables, getting levels, setting up microphones. And that's okay too. It's not for everybody. It's not going to be something that everybody loves to do. I know as musicians, we love playing music. I love hearing my music back to me after it has been recorded. But I may not necessarily be the person who enjoys going into the studio or setting up microphones and getting sounds, taking an hour to get drum sounds. I just may not be that person. You may not be that person. And that is okay. And I'm not saying everybody has to learn how to record themselves, but I am saying you should try it at least. Try it a little bit, try to get started with it and see how it works for you. If it's something that you find interesting and valuable and you enjoyed the process, then hey, you may have something. Then you might be able to learn more and move on and go and record more things. So that is another drawback to recording your music, is that you just may not be into doing that. And believe it or not, that is an okay thing. That's not all musicians are going to enjoy the recording process. So like I said, those are a couple benefits and drawbacks I wanted to go over today. But I had mentioned before that I had decided with my next project, my next album that I'm in, my creative project, we are going to try to record ourselves. And I'm going in with the understanding that it's not going to sound professional studio quality, but I do have enough experience now with doing a lot of audio for a lot of videos that I've cut in the past 4 years, to where I'm confident to at least get a decent sounding record that I can be proud of, my band members can be proud of, and that we would feel comfortable releasing out on iTunes and Spotify. It's amazing to think that is available to us as musicians today, that we could literally record our own music, shoot our own videos, and distribute them on the internet for the world to see. It is an amazing opportunity that is even possible these days, but it is. So I think that's why it's such a good idea that I wanted to try and do that myself, not because I don't believe in recording studios, I do, but I do more believe in empowering myself and learning the skills to do it myself. So I have options open to me and my creative bands. It's not just always gotta go into the studio, gotta record, gotta drop this amount of money, because that can be very expensive when you go into a recording studio, especially if you're working with, a reputable studio and with people who know what they're doing. It can get expensive, and they have all that wisdom and knowledge for a reason. So I just wanted more options available to me and the projects that I'm in, which is why I've decided to record our own album. And it's a little nerve-wracking. And I would really suggest that you give it a shot, like I said. But recording studios, they're not going away. They're always going to be here. There's always going to be a need for professional recorded music, mixed and engineered by the hands of people that know exactly what they're doing. You're not going to get away from that. That's not going anywhere. So I just wanted to clarify that this is definitely not something where I'm saying you shouldn't go to a recording studio. I have some really good friends that have great recording studios here in Phoenix, and I would highly recommend that to anyone, as I'm sure that you do in your city or town. If you do decide to record your own music, I would say start off small. Start with one microphone, a 2-channel interface, and start small and play your song on an acoustic guitar or something. Learn how to mix 2 channels. Learn how to mix or miking techniques to get the best sound out of a simple song. Start small. And that also means you don't have to spend a lot of money. If you're starting small, you can start investing really in cheaper gear, and then decide if this is for you. Decide if this is going to help you as an artist build your music up and find new fans. I think you'd be surprised as to how fulfilling this can feel when you go, wow, I just recorded my own song. I really like it. I'm going to play it for friends and see what they think. I'm going to put it on my social media, see what other people think, and just take baby steps in learning how to record yourself. If this works for you, a year from now, you might be recording your whole band. You never know, right? Or adding more instruments to it. You never know. But I think it's a great idea if you have just the slightest inclination and curious, and you really think that you want to try this, to start off small, just invest in a little bit of gear. Heck, use GarageBand to record. You don't need to buy expensive software yet, and just start off that way. You will get better as time goes on. As I felt like I have, but I also have had to keep at it. I definitely don't think that I'm the world's best engineer, and there's a million things that I would need to learn, but I have gotten better over the years because I've kept at it, and you will get better too if you keep at it and you just do it when you feel passionate about recording your music. Stick with it, and over time you'll find that, a year or 2 years later, you'll be to the point where you feel confident with your abilities to record yourself and get your music sounding great. To a point where you can maybe feel confident in releasing it online as an official album, EP, whatever you want to do. It's just up to you. It depends on how much work you put into it. And that's really the message of it. So, should you be recording your own music? I say yes. Give it a shot. Do it. Nothing bad is going to happen from it. You're only going to gain skills, information, possibly passion to do it. You're only going to gain knowledge, and it can't hurt, other than maybe you're going to have to spend a little bit of money on your first stage of recording equipment. So that is my answer to this week's question on the podcast. I would love to hear what you guys think and get your feedback, because this is not the end all be all of this subject. I would love to hear what you guys think and let me know. So that is the podcast for this week. Thanks for joining me. Really appreciate it. Again, check me out on iTunes and Spotify, my website. Don't forget to check out the Songwriter's Planner as well itself. And we will see you guys at the next podcast. Peace and love.